Welcome, Jock. Thank you so much for coming. I'm so excited about everything that I've been learning from you just personally, and you've been kind enough to give me that time. And unfortunately, I have to tell you, I have to put my hand up and say that everything I learned and took notes from, I still haven't actioned it, and I haven't been well, so I guess that's one excuse. But also I'm pedaling so hard because it's usually just me doing so many things. So I'm going to have to take the time out to do that. But I was so amazed because I always thought I knew so much about social because I was an early adopter, and on a lot of them, G+, Twitter, Facebook. And I was shocked that I was so low compared to you and all the things that I should be doing and hadn't done, and none of them were like a stretch of the grey matter. So I really appreciate that you're willing to share all this incredible knowledge you have about social media. Do you want to just briefly tell me, when you were working for TriNet, obviously you had a team and you were working on these issues. Do you want to give me a bit of history there?
Absolutely. So thanks, first of all, for letting me be here. And I'm super excited. Social media, social selling is an amazing topic, and there's so much you can share. So it's going to be tough to squeeze it all into the hour that we have tonight. At TriNet, my role was corporate communications and social media, and fell right into that. And at some point, we just decided that it would be really interesting to actually engage our own employee base more through social media. And then we looked also at ways how we could leverage social media for the sales process. And that was about two and a half years ago at this point. And so we really developed a number of workshops and courses that we drove into the sales team to help them be better at selling through social.
We were just talking earlier, one of the amazing things about social is that customers have a voice now. And I was just telling you the story about that I recently bought a Dell laptop, and I've been a Dell customer for many years, both here and in Europe, and I signed up for the premium service, but oh my God, when I received the laptop, they hadn't actually, it took 24 hours before all my details were online, so they couldn't get it activated basically. And oh boy, did I kick up a stink. I was so angry. So I tweeted Michael Dell, and I just said, Dell doesn't care, basically. I've been a long-term customer, and they can't even, and I've spent all this money on a laptop, and they can't even get, have it working for me when it's delivered. And as a result, all these Dell Cares reached out to me, and since then, whenever I ring premium support, after they've finished helping me through whatever it is that they've got to help me through, then they always put me onto a supervisor. So there must be a note on my record that they have to check that I'm happy each time, because that never used to happen with me. So to me, that's amazing. Obviously I was angry, and I wouldn't have done it except that the bad service, but it's also a great fail-safe for corporations, because it's so easy to lose sight of customers when you're huge and you've got a huge amount of employees. What's your experience been around that? Do you think that social's really helping in that way?
Absolutely, it's a great point. So first off, having worked at Dell, I can assure you Michael Dell really does care. And it's amazing to see really how their social team is on top of things. So I'm not surprised about your story at all. And I think that experience is a great example. Social media is not just great for getting the word out, but it's also it's a great listening tool, right? And it's a really fantastic way to stay on top of what is going on with your customer base and engaging with your customers, and also taking care of them if something doesn't work out. And so in my experience, my team and I, we have worked on both areas. So we worked on ensuring that customer complaints or concerns would be taken care of, and that they would be addressed in a very timely manner. And we also helped the sales team get the word out about how great the products are and what kind of services they could be using. So it definitely cuts both ways.
Just as a little aside, it's interesting how Amazon's changing the whole face of business in a way, because I'm thinking, if you're a Prime customer, you never have to complain on Twitter about Amazon, because the customer service people are empowered to actually address your needs or problems or issues if you're angry or upset about something. So really, they'd be the only company, but then apparently they're about to take over the world, and he's like going to be the richest man in the world. So it's no wonder, really, is it? It's sort of a simple formula. They don't even need the social media part of it, right?
Yeah, I think Amazon does a fantastic job in terms of customer service. They also do a really nice job leveraging social when you look at their streams, and I mean just even the very simple, basic selling process. When you look after you bought something, how easily they make it for you to share your buying experience. So it's definitely built into this, and Amazon is very aware of the social power.
Right. And so I was wondering if you have any interesting stories about, like, how social has helped or not helped people, or anything that you've experienced in your careers.
I think there's a number of things. So on one hand, I think just speaking from experience, what my colleagues in sales have seen, and the people that I worked with when I give them classes or courses, and when I speak on the topic, there's a lot of people who come back and say, I never thought this was possible. I actually really was able to drive business through that. And so that's a very interesting experience. And I think it's also very much changing your mindset once you start actually engaging on social, and once you actually have a system down, which is what I'm trying to tell people how to set it up. That is one of the things that once you understand how to engage on social, you really see the traction, and that is actually really kind of addictive. And in some instances, it takes a little bit more of a kick from the leadership. So I referenced Michael Dell earlier, and I know from some of the companies that I worked with, when the leadership engages in social, the next level of leadership jumps in very quickly, and they all of a sudden they gave it a very different level of priority than maybe before, where many people, no matter what the position or the experience is, that they think social is maybe just a toy, and it's something that they will take care of at some point later. So social definitely can take a very important role, and it just all hangs together and is driven by the leadership.
And I guess the basis of it all really is just that ordinary people have a voice, and it's not often that people like commend services. The time you hear from them is when they're unhappy, and that's the best way to improve your service. And I'm thinking, obviously we're in Silicon Valley, and mainly dealing with, well, really most of the time dealing with startups and entrepreneurs, and I think to actually build that into your business to start with is a very sharp, wise thing to do, because then as you grow, then you've already got that system in place. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I think that's a core finding of what I was able to uncover, first through own experience, but then also in working for my employers, and now for my own on socialselinator.com. It's really something that you have to bake into your system. You have to think about the method, how you want to engage through social, and you have to make it part of your sales and your business processes.
Yes, I agree. And I've sort of just did it flying by the seat of my pants. And because I like to be like a first adopter, like trying new things. But I think having a system like what you've worked out is like fantastic. And I have so many entrepreneurs coming to me, saying, oh, we just got funded and we want to know what to do with marketing, That's the only thing they ever ask. And I'm like, well, gee, if you had someone on your team that at least just knew your system, you wouldn't even need a marketing person, right?
Mm. I think the challenge is really to understand how to get everything going, and it does take a little bit of time in the beginning, but it's really a great investment that pays off over time, and it pays off in such an amazing way, not just from a business perspective, but also from a personal point of view. So you meet very different people that otherwise you would never be able to engage with. but you also, you're also able to really drive your revenue through that. So yeah, it's amazing, and I think you really have to try it out in order to believe it, because otherwise you really just look at it from a perspective of, am I going to send out a tweet, 140 characters, what is it going to do, right?
Yes, exactly. That's probably me. Thank you so much, Jock. I'm looking forward to the talk tonight.